Boker Tov Hag Sukkot Sameach. I just wanted to pop by this morning and go back to a previous subject, and that's the subject of clothing. I am not expecting you guys to buy a new wardrobe. However, as much as you can of the things you have in your wardrobe, if you will bring cottons, if you have any linen, and I never know, I think it's called in English viscose. I know in Spanish it was called, in Hebrew both is called viscosa. Uh, Viscosa is usually a natural fiber, quote unquote natural. If you factor out if the plant is GMO'd or if it's heavily sprayed, usually from I want to say soy fiber and other things like that, even hemp, clothes made from hemp, any natural fiber as much as you can. Bring those to wear while you're here. uh, the first year and a half I was here, I thought I would smother to death until I got my wardrobe changed out. I only wear cotton, linen, wool, viscosa. Um, I think that's the only fibers I have. Those are easy to get here. And the polyester, and the Orthodox women wear them because they're really afraid of purchasing something that is mixed fibers, like the commandments against. And in order to buy something that's not mixed fibers, they got to buy the very high end, rabbinically approved, fully vetted clothing and cloth that they've paid a high premium on to get approved. So they wear a lot of polyester. And I tell you, I just smothered the first year and a half. I absolutely just smothered. And you will be much more comfortable if you can wear natural fibers. At least on the top or the bottom, both if you can. Wanted to tell you that. And then the other subject is there was a list of locations submitted to me that was suggested as tour locations. I have saved that list, but I also thought that I would like to hear from each one of you in an email to tell me if you've not been to Israel, if you have been to Israel, and there was something you didn't see that's really a location that's really burning in your spirit that you would like for us to visit apart from our focus. And that's locations that deal biblically with the calendar and the produce of the calendar. I would like to see that list. There are many, 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 many places that we could choose to go see. I mean, just some quick examples. The place where Gideon had the men bend over and drink to weed them out before he went into battle. That's just up here. Um, yeah, I mean, there's just so many places. You can't put a shovel or a spade in the earth without turning something up in Israel, literally. And before they build a road or they build a house, they send someone from the Israeli Antiquity Authority out here to do a survey to make sure that we're not going to um, damage anything that existed and needed to be studied. That's what happened up here at Migdal. They had already found the Magdala port on one side of the road, on the side of the road towards the Kinneret. They were going to extend the road on away from the Kinneret on the far side of the road from the Kinneret. And when they began to survey that, they found the rest of the village of Migdala. So there literally are a bazillion locations that we could go look at. We could go look at where David's killed Goliath. But those are just things, people, it's overwhelming to try to decide where to take people. Therefore, I would like your input, and I'll compare it to the list I have and the suggestions that I get, and I'll try to choose from that, first of all, the most requested locations. And you don't have to be shy. Send me 10 things. We won't see them all, obviously. Send me 10 things. Send me 3 things, whatever it is. And from all of my lists, I'll put it on a spreadsheet and I'll put the number of requests, and I will choose from that the extra locations we go to see. Um, Let's see, is there anything else? One other thing, I am planning on a speaking tour in landing November the 2nd, flying out December the 14th in the United States. If anybody in this group would like to have me come speak, I know April has a group set up in Missouri. I think Abraham is working on one in Colorado. But all you got to do is get a few people together. I don't have a set criteria. Get a few people together, give me a place to sleep, and I'll be happy to come and speak to you about the biblical calendar in person. In addition to speaking about the biblical calendar, I'm going to promote the tour. I don't want a large group. I have said 12, but what I really need to do is I need to go look at transportation and the size of vehicles that are available. I think that probably the next logical step up would be 17 rather than 12, because I think there are 17 passenger vans. I'm not sure. I will plan on doing that before I go off on the tour. So I will go armed with knowledge. But I do want to keep it very small. But this is just to keep you astride of what I'm doing so far. We have Abraham is going to try, he's very interested. And then we have 5 for sure, 5 or 6 for sure. I think 6 for sure, and 7 counting myself. So I would take a seat. And then Mayan, the tour guide, would have to have a seat. So that's 8. So we could possibly take 7 more participants over and above what we have at this point. And I just wanted to let you know that that's the size of the group we're looking at. The other thing, the final thing, it's really in my heart that on Shabbat, Friday night, that we're back on our premises early enough, because one of the things I would like you to experience, this is not this is homegrown. Most of the people who come to Israel have this circuit of tours where they're whisked through the countryside and they jump, hop and jump and run, hop and jump and run, and by the time they get to the end of it, they've not absorbed anything. I don't want that for you guys. I want this to be more on my level, that when you walk to my house, you're walking through my neighborhood to my house. That when Shabbat rolls around, that we're back in time, that you get to prep for Shabbat in Israel. Look, there's a lot of things wrong in Israel. There's a lot of sin, just like there is in the rest of the world. But there is still a specialness about the 6th day, towards the end of the day, as people really focus and prepare for the Sabbath, especially living in a predominantly Jewish area like I do, and they really focus on the preparation for the Sabbath. There is a quietness and a stillness that settles in. Israel is a noisy location. If you've ever been to Latin America with all the honking and buses and yada yadas, Israel is a lot like that. But come that late afternoon on the Sabbath, there is a special quietness that settles in that I don't believe that you hear anyplace else on the earth. You don't experience this on the tours. I want you to experience the holy quiet of Shabbat that still exists on the land. And that Friday night we'll bring our bits and pieces together and enjoy a Shabbat meal. Saturday, the house will be open, the property will be open. We can come and fellowship together, just hang out and speak together. Sunday nights, Yom Rishon, after our day of touring in the evening, that evening, we'll have 2 Sunday nights together. That's when I want to have the praise and worship, probably on the property. So that's kind of the feeling that I'm trying to bring to you. It is so time for the body to be the body, and just to love each other and come together face to face and man, I got a whole thing burning in me that's being birthed that I'm going to have to let out at some point, but it's not quite time yet, about how bifurcated and divided we are. Yeah, I got to let that out, and eventually I will. But for now, this is a step backwards in time, and I want us to experience that oneness and that fellowship on this earth, on this dirt, in Israel, as we learn the wild grains and fellowship together and see everything and experience everything He has for us. So that'll do us for now. Yeah, Hag Sukkot Sameach. Have a great week.